Tanya's hands trembled as she stared at the briefcase full of cash on the mahogany desk. $20,000 in crisp $100 bills, laid out like bait in a trap. "Take it and disappear," Eleanor
Take
Harrison
this
said,
money
her
and
diamond
leave my
rings
son
glinting under
alone.
the
He
chandelier
can't
light.
marry you.
"My son's future doesn't
My
include you or
son's
those
future
babies you're
does not
carrying."
include you and
Tanya
those
placed both
babies you are
hands on her
carrying.
swollen belly, feeling her twin daughters move inside her. 6 months pregnant, exhausted from scrubbing floors in this mansion, and now this. The billionaire's mother sat across from her like a queen passing judgment, her cold eyes dissecting Tanya as if she were nothing more than dirt on expensive marble. "Mrs. Harrison, I never asked James for anything. Don't play innocent with me." Eleanor's voice cut through the air like a knife. "You seduced my son. You, a maid, trapped a man worth billions. Did you really think I'd let you ruin his life?" Tanya's heart pounded. She'd been cleaning this house for 2 years, working 12-hour shifts to send money back home to her sick mother. She never planned to fall in love with James. It just happened during those late nights when he'd find her in the library, when they'd talk about books and dreams and the kind of life they both wanted. He saw her. Really saw her. Not the uniform, not her position, but her. "James loves me," Tanya whispered. Eleanor laughed, a sound devoid of warmth. "Love? My dear, men like my son don't love women like you. They have fun with you, then they marry women from their own world. I'm offering you more money than you'd make in 5 years. Take it, sign these papers giving up all parental rights, and vanish. Or I'll make sure you never work in this city again. I'll destroy every reference, every opportunity. You'll have nothing." If you're enjoying this story, please hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next. The room spun. Tanya looked at the money, thought about her mother's medical bills, the tiny apartment she could barely afford, the twins growing inside her who deserved so much more than she could give them. $20,000 could change everything. It could buy time, buy safety, buy a fresh start somewhere else. But as her fingers hovered over the briefcase, she felt a kick. Then another. Her daughters, moving together, reminding her they were real. They were hers. And they weren't for sale. Tanya closed the briefcase with a soft click. "I can't do this," she said, her voice stronger now. "I won't do this." Eleanor's face darkened. "Excuse me? My babies aren't a problem to be solved with money. They're human beings. Your grandchildren." Tanya stood, her legs shaking but her resolve solid. "I won't take your money, Mrs. Harrison. And I won't sign away my rights as a mother." "You stupid girl." "Maybe I am stupid," Tanya interrupted, surprising herself with her boldness. "Maybe I'm stupid for believing your son when he said he loved me. Maybe I'm stupid for thinking I could ever be accepted by people like you. But I'm not stupid enough to sell my children." Eleanor stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. "Then you'll have nothing. Nothing. Do you understand? I'll make sure James never speaks to you again. I'll tell him you tried to extort money from this family. You'll raise those babies in poverty, and one day they'll hate you for it." Tears burned Tanya's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "Not here. Not in front of this woman." "Then they'll hate me," she said quietly. "But at least when they're old enough to ask, I can tell them I chose them over everything else. I chose their dignity over your money. Can you say the same about the choices you've made, Mrs. Harrison?" The door burst open. James stood there, breathless, his tie loosened and his face flushed. "Mother, what the hell is going on?" "Your assistant said you called Tanya in here." He stopped when he saw the briefcase, understanding dawning in his eyes. "No. Tell me you didn't." "James, darling, I'm protecting you." "Protecting me?" He moved to Tanya's side, taking her hand. "By bribing the woman I love? By trying to take away my children?" Eleanor's composure cracked slightly. "She's using you. Can't you see that? The only person I see clearly is standing right here." James turned to Tanya, his eyes desperate. "Please, don't leave. We can fight this together. I don't care what my mother thinks or what society says. I love you. Tanya looked at him, this man she'd fallen for despite every logical reason not to. She saw the sincerity in his face, but she also saw something else, the shadow of doubt that would grow over time. The resentment that would build when his mother refused to speak to him, when his friends whispered behind his back, when every family gathering became a battlefield. She loved him too much to let him become that person. James, she said softly, pulling her hand away. Your mother is right about one thing. Your world and mine are too different. I won't let our daughters grow up in a war zone, constantly having to prove they deserve to exist. Tanya, no. I'm leaving. Not because of the money. Not because of your mother's threats. But because our babies deserve peace, and they won't find it here. She walked toward the door, each step heavier than the last. If you really love us, you'll let us go. I'll find you, James called after her. I swear, I'll find you, and we'll figure this out. But Tanya kept walking, out of the mansion, out of that glittering world of crystal and cruelty, into the rainy night with nothing but her dignity and her unborn daughters. She had no idea that 3 years later, she'd return to that same mansion. But next time, she wouldn't be walking through the service entrance. She'd be arriving in a Ferrari. 3 years later, the valet's eyes widened as the candy apple red Ferrari pulled up to the Harrison mansion. The annual charity gala was in full swing, and luxury cars lined the circular driveway, but this one turned heads. Tanya stepped out in a midnight blue gown that hugged her figure perfectly, her natural hair styled in elegant locks that cascaded down her back. But the real showstoppers were the 2 little girls who emerged after her, identical twins in matching white dresses with ribbons in their hair. Mommy, is this where Daddy lives? One of them asked, her eyes wide as she stared at the mansion. Yes, baby. This is where he lives. Tanya took both their hands, Zara on her left and Nia on her right. Remember what Mommy told you? We hold our heads high, and we're kind to everyone. Even to people who weren't kind to you? Nia asked, wise beyond her 3 years. Tanya smiled, squeezing her daughter's hand. Especially to people who weren't kind to me. The past 3 years had been a blur of sleepless nights and relentless work. After leaving the mansion that rainy evening, Tanya had gone back to her cramped apartment and made a decision. She wouldn't just survive, she'd build something that mattered. Working as a maid, she'd seen how domestic workers were exploited, paid under the table, denied benefits, treated as invisible. So she taught herself to code during her pregnancy, watching free tutorials on her phone between contractions. 6 weeks after giving birth to the twins, she launched an app called Fair Work. It connected domestic workers with verified, ethical employers, ensured transparent payment systems, and provided legal resources. The app spread like wildfire through immigrant communities, and within a year, she had 50,000 users. By year 2, investors were knocking on her door. Now, Fair Work was valued at $8 million, and Tanya had been featured in Forbes' 30 Under 30 list. She hadn't done it for revenge. She'd done it because her daughters were watching, and she wanted them to see what was possible when you refused to accept someone else's definition of your worth. Inside the mansion, the ballroom glittered with champagne and designer gowns. Tanya had been invited as a major donor. Her company had contributed $50,000 to the Children's Literacy Foundation. The invitation had been sent through official channels, and no one had realized who she was. Until now. Eleanor Harrison stood near the orchestra, mid-conversation with a senator's wife, when she turned and locked eyes with Tanya. The color drained from her face. The champagne flute in her hand trembled. Tanya walked forward, her daughters flanking her like tiny queens. Mrs. Harrison, Tanya said warmly, extending her hand. Thank you for the invitation. My company was honored to contribute to such a worthy cause. Eleanor stared at the outstretched hand as if it were a snake. What are you doing here? I'm a donor. Didn't you receive the contribution from Fair Work Incorporated? Tanya's smile didn't waver. Oh, and these are my daughters, Zara and Nia. Girls, say hello to Mrs. Harrison. Hello, the twins chorused, their voices sweet and clear. Eleanor's eyes darted between the little girls, seeing James in every feature, his smile, his eyes, the way they tilted their heads. I don't understand. There's not much to understand, Tanya said gently. You told me I'd have nothing if I walked away from your money. You were wrong. I had everything I needed, my daughters and my determination. The rest, I built myself. A familiar voice cut through the tension. Tanya? She turned to see James standing there, older now, with lines around his eyes that hadn't been there 3 years ago. He stared at the twins as if seeing a miracle. James, Tanya said softly. I'd like you to meet your daughters. This is Zara, and this is Nia. He dropped to his knees, not caring about his expensive suit or the staring crowd. Tears streamed down his face. They're beautiful. Oh God, Tanya, I looked for you everywhere. I hired investigators, I drove through every neighborhood. I know. I saw you once, actually. Outside a grocery store in Brooklyn. I almost called out, but... She paused, glancing at her daughters. I needed to become someone they could be proud of first. Eleanor found her voice, shaky and uncertain. I owe you an apology. Tanya turned back to the older woman, seeing something she'd never seen before, genuine remorse etched in those hard features. You told me I wasn't good enough for your world, Tanya said, her voice carrying across the silent ballroom. Every eye was on them now. And you were right. I wasn't good enough for a world that measures people by their bank accounts and their last names. So I created my own world, one where worth is measured by character and courage. She gestured to her daughters. These girls will grow up knowing that their mother didn't need rescuing. She didn't need a billionaire's money or approval. She needed to believe in herself, and once she did, everything else fell into place. Eleanor's voice cracked. I was cruel to you. I was wrong. You were afraid, Tanya corrected gently. Afraid of change, afraid of losing control. I understand that now. But here's what I learned, Mrs. Harrison, the things we fear most often turn out to be the things we needed all along. James stood, his voice hoarse. Can I be in their lives? Please, Tanya. I'll do whatever it takes. Tanya looked at her daughters, then at James, then at Eleanor. The anger she'd carried for 3 years had transformed into something else, not quite forgiveness, but understanding. Peace. We can start slowly, she said. Coffee, maybe. Let them get to know you. But James, they come first. Always. Always, he agreed immediately. As Tanya prepared to leave, Eleanor touched her arm gently. That $20,000 I offered you would have been the worst investment of my life, Tanya finished. Walking away from it was the best decision I ever made. She drove away that night, her daughters sleeping peacefully in their car seats, the Ferrari purring beneath her. In the rearview mirror, she could see the mansion growing smaller, but she felt larger than she ever had before. Before we go, if this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Drop a comment below telling us what you would have done in Tanya's position. Your engagement helps us bring you more inspiring stories like this one. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming so undeniably yourself that the people who doubted you have no choice but to see what they missed.